Hello everyone, Bogdan Bratis from Saspod here, and today we're gonna learn 8 ways you can find and book guests on your podcast. Now, it is quite hard to book guests on your podcast. The reason for that is because it takes some time. It takes time to actually go on Google and search for all these people. First thing first, just finding the names and come up with some good guests can be challenging, and then after that you need to find their contact information. That could be quite challenging sometimes. Email them and then hopefully they would respond, right? So all that process takes a lot of time, and obviously you can work with agencies that can book guests on your podcast. They have contact information and all that, and you can pay to play basically. But you can also do some of that yourself. You can actually go and find guests yourself. There are some successful ways I'll show you today. We're going to look into these 8 ways, and if you have some ideas that I haven't explored in this video, I welcome you to actually leave a comment below how you do it. If there's some methods that I'm not exploring today, and probably I'm gonna do a video on those methods as well, so definitely help me out. It would really be appreciated. Before we go into the 8 methods, I must say I organized these from the weakest method to the strongest method. So the first method would not be as effective and the last method would be the most effective. So stick until the end of the video so you can find out the best ways to do it, right? So let's start with the social media one. Basically, this is the obvious one. You can go on social media and you can ask people on social media. You can make a post on social media. I'm not even gonna show you how to do that because that's quite obvious. You go on Facebook groups. There are many Facebook groups out there that are even specifically designed for booking people on other shows, and you can find people there. But the reason why I don't like this method the most is you won't be able to find the highest quality guests. Usually you'll find people that have a few followers here and there, and they have a little bit of speaking training and they can talk on a specific niche, but they're not going to elevate your podcast to the next level, right? That's why I say this method may not be as effective, but you can definitely try. So what you need to do is create a post, go on social media and put that post up and see who actually is going to respond. So let's go to the second method. The second method is slightly better, but still not amazing. You can use matchmaking services. So I'm not sure if you've heard of Matchmaker or Podfade. I'm just gonna show you around. So basically, Matchmaker is a service where you can find all sorts of people. You can list your podcast profile in there, and then people will actually reach out to you. It is a paid method, so you'll have to create an account. I do have an account, but it seems like I need to subscribe to an annual subscription to show you around. But it's quite easy. So you basically get loads of people messaging you, and then after that you can message back and see if you're a fit. So as you can see, I got quite a lot of people trying to apply on my show, but the problem is that many people don't even read the entire description of what the show is all about, so you get a lot of irrelevant applications. So that's why it's not one of my favorite methods. Same with Podmatch. Podmatch is another service that I've seen around, which some people are asking if it's a scam or not. It's not a scam, it's a legitimate website, but again, it is just one of those websites where it makes your life easier, but you're not gonna find the best guests in here, and you also need to pay for the subscription. So I would say it's not the best, but you can definitely try. I use this method as well to maybe look for some people here and there, but don't rely on this method only. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, and that would be to look for guests on other podcasts. Now this would require a little bit more work because you actually have to research stuff, right? So you can go on Listen Notes, for example. Listen Notes is a directory where you can find all the podcasts. it's different than Apple Podcasts and Spotify for podcasters and all that. That's because these guys are actually selling data and they organize it in a nicer way, if that makes sense. What you can do is, let's say you can look for business podcasts, and then you're gonna find here, look, 10,000 results. So you can go on this podcast and then look for guests that have been on this podcast, and then you can go and find their information and then contact them. That's what I would do. So let's go at another example. Let's try this. Right, so looking around here, I'm just trying to find some names, but look, this is the host and talks with this guy. And then you can go and Google this guy's name, or maybe you can even find the information in the show notes. You can find it on YouTube. So you can start looking around this episode and try to find as much information as possible. And then you're going to find this person and see if that person is a fit for your podcast. The nice thing with listen notes is that you can niche down categories and you can filter things around, you can do all sorts of things. And another interesting thing is that you can actually buy data from listen notes. Now this data is not very expensive, but what you can do is go and buy data by category. You can filter out the data in a certain way that fits your targeting, and then it will give you a list of podcasts that you can have access to. Now, you don't want to email the podcast themselves, but at least you get the podcast in an Excel sheet, and then you can go on each and every podcast and see the type of people that they actually interviewed. So for example, if you don't want to target the most known person in the world, you might want to choose, let's say, a podcast that just started out, right? So let's say you want to target podcasts that started out in this year, right, in 2025. You can do that, and then you can also say it has this amount of episodes, it has this type of category, it is in this region, and you can niche down, and then these podcasts, for example, may be more relevant to you, and then go on this podcast and look for the guests that appear on this show, and this will almost guarantee that you're gonna book the guests for your show. Especially if you just start out, this is the way to do it, right? So let's look into the next one. Next one is ChatGPT. So a lot of people use ChatGPT for researching stuff. So we could look for, I always do this, ChatGPT. Oh man, I always say ChatGPT for whatever reason, and I even write it that way. I'm not dyslexic or anything, but it's just the way it got into my mind. So you could go to chat, and then you can ask it to basically give you information. So I'm just gonna show you how it's done. Let me see if I've got, yeah, there you go. So you could ask, for example, give me a list of 30 speakers in the marketing industry that would be relevant for a podcast. You can even say what type of podcast or anything like that. So that's quite useful with ChatGPT. You can literally explain what you want. Also, organize this into a table and provide LinkedIn information, right? So you do that and you wait for ChatGPT to do its job. It will take a few minutes. But once that's done, you literally have a list of guests you can actually approach. Now, you won't find contact information because ChatGPT doesn't allow for that. but you find the profile and then you can go and research the profile itself, and then you can find the information using other tools. Stick till the end of this video because I'm going to show you how to actually find the information so you can actually email or call that person. So as you can see, it found quite some relevant names in here. You can go, research each and one of them. Sometimes ChatGPT can be wrong, so it's important that you research the entire thing and then you make sure that it's relevant for your show. So the next way to do it, and I really love this method because it's really, really smart in a way, is actually use Amazon book authors. So basically on Amazon, you go on Amazon and then you'll find, where is it? Come on. Sometimes it's so difficult. There you go, books. And then in here, there is a section called advanced search. And here you can write a certain keyword. Let's say you want to find somebody into finance, for example, right? So finance. And then you can also say that this book was published in 2025. So that means it's a new book. So that means that person is looking to promote that book, is looking for a spot on a podcast, and they are more likely to get on your show. So it's important who you ask, not how many people, but who. Because if you ask the right person, you may get an answer straight away. If you ask the wrong person, you may not actually get an answer at all because it's not targeted properly. So you can do that, and you can use this tool to niche even lower, right? You can niche down and find the right person for you. You hit search, and you'll find here quite a few books that were written by all sorts of authors. Now you can go, for example, and choose customer review. This is gonna give like the best reviewed books, basically. You can say up to, and you can niche down. So if we look around, let's say this one looks like 26 people review this book. You can click on that, and then you can see who actually wrote it. I just need to zoom in because I'm quite far away from the screen. Steven, right? You can go and look about this author, and then you can start Google his name. You see he's an author. You see other books he wrote. You can see his LinkedIn profile. You click on the LinkedIn profile. You see that he is based somewhere in the UK. And you can, from this point, you can find his contact information, which again, I'm gonna show you at the end of the video. So yeah, this is one of my favorite ways to look for guests. It's quite powerful. Before we move further into the video, it's really important that you like this video if you found it valuable, and also subscribe to this channel. It's really important that you do that because YouTube really looks for videos that stand out from the crowd. It's really, really important that you do that because YouTube has become very, very competitive. So any type of support is very welcome. So thank you so much. Now let's get straightforward into the next section. Now, one of my favorite ways to book guests on a show is to actually attend networking events. This is one of the best ways to do it. The reason is because when you email somebody, right, that person at the other end doesn't see you. He's not able to see you. He's not able to see your face. You get buried into a list of other emails, so you cannot stand out, and it's quite hard to have people respond to your emails. Now, when you go to a networking event, especially if it's a great networking event in your area, for example, or even outside your area, you find the people right there on the spot, and most likely you're gonna talk to everybody in that room, or at least a big portion of that room, because most of these networking events are designed in such a way that you can actually go and talk to them, right? And when you do that, especially if you are not an introvert, you're an extrovert and somebody that can actually present himself and can, make himself known, it's really going to help out because you're going to connect with the people at a personal level. And when you do that, inviting that person on your podcast is just going to be a formality from that point. You don't need to convince that person anymore, especially if it's a 100% fit with your show. It doesn't matter what type of caliber that person is. That person may actually accept your invitation on the spot right there. You can take his number, you can take his email, whatever there is, connect with him on LinkedIn, and then invite him on your show. So this is the best way to do it. I've done that quite a few times on a few podcasts, and it works like magic. So definitely implement that. So what you need to do is go on Google and then say networking events. And I'm based in Glasgow. You have Eventbrite, you have all sorts of other resources. Sometimes Google gives you like events, suggestions and stuff like that, so you can have a look. So Glasgow networking events, for example, you can click in here. So you see the Corporate Escape Club, and some of them cost money, some of them don't cost as much. Some are like £5, some are like £20, but the idea is that you go to these events and you meet loads of people, and these people actually can recommend other people to you. And it's all about personal branding. At the end of the day, if you make yourself known, you're gonna make everything else that's around you known. So your business, your podcast, everything. So it's one of the best ways to actually get people interested in your podcast. So another way to find people for your show is to use Google in a smarter way. Google is the world, basically, is the entire world. If you go on Google, you can find virtually everything. Now, it's really important how you search on Google. If you just search on Google, podcast, guest, marketing, right, you're gonna get all sorts of irrelevant links and stuff like that, so it's not gonna really help out. But if you do the following, let's say you put the word marketing in quotes, then you put plus, and let's say you want somebody that's on SEO, and then you put plus, and then you say it's also a speaker, you now isolate it. So basically what's happening is all the results must include all these different keywords. If the result doesn't have any of those keywords, it will not appear on in the search result. So now you can even look, for example, you can put plus and you can put Glasgow, which is my area. Right, and there you go. You can find Craig Campbell's local SEO. So there you go. And you find other people maybe in the Glasgow area. There's not a lot of people, but you can do that for any different city. Just gonna have a look maybe on the second page. Craig Campbell is definitely making an appearance everywhere here. But let's have a look at this guy. Right, so you found here one person seems that he has been featured on all these different publications. So yeah, it's one way. And you can keep going. You can change the terms a little bit, and then you can find all sorts of people. Maybe just remove this one from here. And that maybe would help, because not every SEO expert is a speaker as well. but it definitely helps if he's a speaker, because that means he's more of an entertainer as well. So he's not just somebody that comes to your show to promote this business and stuff. Yeah, so you can see, you can find the actual business, and then you can find who's behind that business, and that really helps with finding a guest, right? Maybe you can even call this number. You could, for example, look at the founder's LinkedIn, maybe go on About page, meet the team, there you go, director, store manager, web design. So you can find basically the names in here, and then from then on you can go and find that person and contact that person. Now, the next way and the last way to find guests on your podcast is to actually have guests reach to you, so you don't have to reach out. And the best way to do that, first thing first, you need to build a really good show. Your show has to stand out from the crowd. It needs to be high quality. And if it meets these requirements, people will start applying on your show, right? And you can put your podcast out there on all sorts of different platforms, so people can find it. So for example, list yourself on Listen Notes. If you're not on Listen Notes yourself, other guests may not be able to find your podcast on that platform. So you use that platform to find guests, but guests can also look there to look for podcasts and stuff like that. So it's really important. So get yourself on any directory, as many directories as possible. Make sure that your SEO stands out as well, so people can find you on Google. Another thing you might want to do is on your website, make sure that you put a calendar link for a discovery call with your guests. And when you do that, people can actually book a slot to talk to you first before you actually record an interview. And that's gonna be really, really easy for them to get started with you. So what I recommend for that is an app from AppSumo. So AppSumo is a place where you can buy apps for really cheap. Tidycall is an alternative for Calendly. Calendly is quite expensive if you want to buy it on a month-to-month basis, but this one, you pay $39 one time only, and you have the license forever, which is a steal. I'm not sure for how long this is gonna be here, but as of the moment me recording this video, the offer is still available. So yeah, go and buy that calendar and embed that calendar into your website, so people can actually book a call with you. So that's really important. You have a page for guest booking inquiries. So that's what I would do. I promise you at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you a few ways you can find the contact information of these people, so you can actually contact them. Now, one way is to actually go and check their websites. Sometimes their websites can have the email somewhere listed in there, maybe in the contact page, maybe in the footer, somewhere you may find that email. If you don't find that email, you can obviously use the contact form, but I don't like that because most of the time contact forms on websites are broken, they don't work well, they are full of spam, and when people get inquiries through contact forms, they basically ignore them, which is weird because that contact form should be there for people to actually fill it in, so you get a reply from the people. But every time I fill in a contact form, I don't get replies. So the best way is to find the email of that person and book that person directly, right? So message that person directly. So in order to find emails, there are a few tools out there. I'm just gonna mention a few you can use. So one is Rocketreach, and this is the second one that I would recommend as well. Similar idea. One thing that I like about Rocketreach is that you can use it for free to start with. They have a free tryout, so if you aren't savvy about finding emails and stuff like that, they won't charge you. So if you do a few emails here and there, I think you can do 5 a week or something. You can actually keep using this for free. If you want to scale it up, obviously you need to look into the pricing and then subscribe, but it's not super expensive, as you can see, for what it does. So literally in this tool, you'll find information of every single person on the planet, really. So you can find my information, you can find everyone's information, and then you can email that person using that information, or you can even call that person and try to establish a relationship. And that could really help you out and book that person on the podcast. Another one that I used, but I don't like it as much, but in a way it can help out, is Crunchbase. Now, Crunchbase is also like a directory where you can find people in there. What I don't like about Crunchbase is that it's very specific to businesses and stuff like that. So it could be good for a B2B podcast, looking for business founders, stuff like that, CFOs, CEOs. It's really good for that. You can even find me here, right? You can find my contact information if you subscribe, and you can email me. That's the way you would do with other people. So, and this is another way you can actually look for guests. You can look for certain businesses and see who is part of that business at the top level. And then you can find that information and then email them, and hopefully they're gonna get on your show. Okay guys, so these are the 8 ways you can find and book guests on your show. However, I'm not gonna go into all the details when it comes to what you need to write into the email, how to persuade the people to actually get on your show. All that, I could create another video, so please let me know if you're interested, and I'll make that video for you guys so you can see how I would email and approach a guest. So that's really, really cool. So let me know if you're interested. And if you found this video valuable, please let me know. Hit the like button, really important, as well as subscribe to this channel. It will really help a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.